Hi, how are you doing? This is IBM-i By Doing. Welcome to IBM-i By Doing, a series of video sessions in which we do hands-on projects programming the IBM-i Midrange computer. I'm Madhu Vasudevan with over 20 years of IBM-i work experience at your service. The target audience is newbie programmers who want to learn RPG4 or RPG ILE on IBM-i. I am working from a free Windows server offered by the AWS Cloud free tier. There is a link in this video's description to another of my videos on how you can sign up for the AWS free tier, launch a Windows 10 desktop and use it free for an entire year. But feel free to proceed with your personal laptop or desktop computer. Welcome to this hands-on session on Intro to the Source Entry Utility. First, we will start a session on Pub 400. Then we will create an RPGLE program to learn and document SEU. We will explore source entry utility features such as editing, setting session defaults, invoking command line, compiling, browsing the external members, browsing compiler output, modifying PDM defaults. Then we will call the created program. And finally, we will examine the program object. Let's start a session in the IBM-i system at pub400.com. The first video in this series has details on how to sign up for and connect to this IBM-i server. Double-click on the configured TN5250 desktop icon to start the emulator application. Note that TN5250 has already established a connection to the IBM-i server at pub400.com. Expand the application window to full screen. In the username field, key in the user profile name confirmed by the pub400 email. Tab over to the password field and key in your new and secret password. Then hit enter. You are signed on to the IBM-i main menu. We have successfully started a session in the IBM-i system at pub400.com. Let's create an RPGLE program to learn and document SEU. In the command line, enter the command dsplibl and hit enter to display the library list. Note your current library. Our current library is our user profile suffix 1. Any program objects we compile will be by default created in this current library of 1 appended to your profile name. Press F3 to return to command line. Key in the command change current library to your second library and hit enter. Now again display library list and hit enter to display the modified library list. Now any program objects you compile will by default get created in this current library of 2 appended to your user profile. Press F3 to return to command line. Key in the command strpdm and hit enter to start the Program Development Manager. Take option 3 to work with members. Note that the file name is qrpglesrc, your source physical file, and your library is changed to your project library or your second library and hit enter. Press F6 to create a new member and this will start the source entry utility command. We are in str.seu. Let's call this source member SEU_help. For source type, tab over and key in RPGLE. Tab over. For description, key in SEU help and hit enter. Within the SEU, your cursor is currently in line 1, column 1. Move it to the right with the arrow key 1 step to the right, key in 2 slashes, Follow along. Double slashes on column numbers 7 and 8 denotes comment line. Use down arrow to come to last line. Press the tab key. Maneuver to just above the star in the last row. Right arrow one time. Again double slash and key in end of SEU help. Press home key, hit enter. Just mimic my key steps as we investigate SEU. Second line, column number 7, double slashes. Press F19, that is Shift plus F7 to see the unused columns on the left hand side. There you go. The unused columns on the left hand side reappear. I don't know of any method to hide it again unless you close and restart SEU. Tab to next line number. Tab one more time. Use right arrow. Position yourself on column 7. Key in. Check bottom line of display for cursor's column or line number. Column number is offset by 8. So right now you will be seeing column number 108 instead of 100. Tab over. Tab one more time. Right arrow. Position to number 7. Key in. Use up arrows and left arrows to position cursor below first star. That is row 1, column 1. Right there. Use down arrow keys and right arrow key. Come to column 7 and key in. From row 1, column 1, move left and type anything. Left arrow keys. Position to row 1, column 1. Move left and type anything. Note the message in the bottom. Cursor in protected area of display. Now your keyboard is locked. We say that you are in the input gutter. No key works. The magic release is the control key. Press the control key and use arrow keys. Position to next line, 7th column and key in. If cursor is stuck with SEU error message, press the control key to release cursor. Hit the tab one more time. Move arrow key, right arrow key, position to column 7 again and key in. Use the 4 arrow keys, less than symbol, the cap symbol, that's the Shift 6 key, the capital V and the greater than symbol to denote the 4 arrow keys, left, top, bottom and right, and the end key to move cursor, not mouse. Tab over, tab one more time. Right arrow keys, column 7, key in, press Control and left or right arrow keys to jump over words. So try it out. Control left, 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 left arrow, keeping control key pressed, left arrow, keep control key pressed, right arrow, right arrow, right arrow. Keep control key pressed and right arrows, you've gone to the border. One more right arrow, almost like the tab key. So tab over, right arrow keys, position to column 7 and key in. Backspace is left arrow. Field exit key, the long plus key, will delete rest of the line. Let's try it. Use left arrow. To come up to say W, hit the long plus button, the field exit. It has deleted the rest of the line. At this point, move the cursor anywhere on the screen, anywhere at all, and hit enter. Now move the cursor, maybe press the end key to come to the end of the line and key in the rest of the line again. Now press Control left arrow to skip to the previous words and press the field exit key one more time to delete the rest of the line. At this point, you can press the F5 key, function key 5, hit the enter key. Now press Ctrl left arrow and go back to the word will and press the field exit long plus button. Now press F5, function key F5 restores the display to the previous enter, to however the screen was when you pressed enter last. Just a tip to remember. Note that pressing F5 has pushed the cursor back to the home column or the command line. Down arrow, position to column 7 in the next line and key in. Insert key toggles between override and insert modes shown on last display line. Press insert key, Ctrl left arrow to come to some word like shown, key in insert. Note that insert word has been inserted before shown. Back arrow will only go left. You will need to back arrow all the way and press delete if you wish to delete the word. Insert mode is still on. Press insert key one more time. Left arrows. Now we are no longer in insert mode. Left arrow, delete key, tab key, position to next line, column 7, key in. Take F1 on the sequence numbers at left to get help with the line commands. Then F12 to resume. Tab over to the line number column on the left, press the F1 key and you have sequence number help. So these are a bunch of commands you can issue by keying in the letters in the line number pane. Press page down to scroll through them and read it. We will cover a bunch of these commands in this session. Not all of them, of course, but quite a few of them, or the important ones at least. And you can refer to these and try them out to get to learn SEU better. So F12 to exit this help. Down arrow keys, tab over, arrow keys, column 7, key in, type I and enter on a line number to insert a line below. Move cursor up, press tab key, go to line number 6. From line number 6, press I and hit enter. Note that a new line has been inserted just below line number 6, but if you hit enter again without typing anything, that line is lost. Again from line number 6, hit enter and column number 7, 2 slashes. Hit enter and one more enter. So you have inserted a line just after line number 6. Let's give one more break to our documentation. Go to line number 9. Where it says backspace is left arrow, hit an I and enter, put into slashes and enter a couple times. Tab, right arrow keys, key in, type D and enter on a line number to delete that line. Let's try it. Let's go to the inserted blank line, type a D and hit enter. That line is gone. There is no way to restore that line. No Control Z or even function key F5. Press F5. No, you don't get that line back. Insert, 2 slashes. You have to retype the line. So there is something final about the D in line number pane. Tab over. Use arrow keys to come to line number 14 in my case and key in, type RP and enter on a line number to repeat that line below. Let's try this. Pressing tab brings you to the line number column. Let's take a line at random. Line number 10. Insert key toggles between override and insert modes. RP on that line and hit enter. And that line is replicated. You know how to get rid of that line. Go back to column of line numbers, key in a D and hit enter. Reposition, tab over, arrow keys, key in, type I 10 and then a space bar and enter on a line number to insert 10 new lines below. So let's try it. Let's go to line number 2, tab key to come to the line number pane, key in I, the number 10, and then a space so that it doesn't merge with the existing digits of the line number already present, and hit enter. There you go. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 lines, unless you make a space there and hit enter to preserve those 10 lines. If not, you will lose those 10 lines. Let's try that again. Position to the first blank line, say D10 and enter to delete those 10 lines. Say I10 to insert the 10 lines and enter. One more enter. So you know how to insert multiple lines below a given line number. Moving on, down arrow keys, tab over, right arrow keys and key in, type C on a line, then A or B on another line to copy the line after or before where the cursor is. Let's try that. Tab, up arrows. Let's go to line number 3. Key in a C for copy. Come down to line number 6. Key an A and hit enter. So line number 3, which was check bottom line of display for cursors column / line number blah blah, has been copied over after line number 6. You don't want a repeat of that same line. So D on that line and enter to get rid of it. Tab over, down arrow keys, press the page down key, press insert key, the number 10, space bar, hit enter, down arrows, one little space, hit enter, one more time enter, and you have expanded your source code member by 10 more lines. Reposition column number 7 on what is now line number 16.01. This renumbering and line numbering is an automatic process, so once you exit out of SEU, you get a question whether you want your lines renumbered, and normally we just take the default yes, in which case these line numbers will get sequential integral numbers again, so don't worry about the line numbers. They are the numbers we use to track down lines from a trace or while debugging, so they're also called statement numbers. Next line to key in, delimit a range of lines with CC, then key in an A or a B on another line to copy after or before where the cursor is. Let's try that. Press page up and let's position to line number 4. Press tab key to enter the number pane and use arrow keys. Let's go to say line number 4 and type CC to start or delimit, another CC on line number 6. So we have delimited 3 lines. If you had hit enter at this point, hit enter to see what you have delimited, but nothing else happens. They don't get copied anywhere. Move cursor to, let's say, line number 9, key an A and hit enter. So the line numbering tells you that 9.02, 9.03 and 9.04, 3 new lines got inserted before line number 10. You could get rid of these. Key D and then number 3, space and enter to delete the next 3 lines. Page down. Go to line number, say 10, CC, down arrow, say to line number 13, CC, come to line number 16.02, that is say 1 or 2 blank lines after our last keyed in line, and if you say B before and hit enter, you see how those 4 lines got inserted again. They got inserted before where the cursor was. Let's go to line number 12, CC, to line number 15, CC, come to the last input line, press a B for before and hit enter. Note that those 4 lines got inserted before our last input line. So we could get rid of them by typing, say, DD at 6.01 and another DD, delimiter for delete at line number 6.04 and hit enter. So DD works like CC. Instead of copy, DD deletes. Down arrow, tab over, right arrow, position to column number 7 and key in. Type M on a line, then A or B on another line to move the line after or before where the cursor is. Let's try that one. Let's press the home key one more time and down arrow, come to number pane, key in an M, come down, to one of the blank lines, key in an A and hit enter, and that line has been moved. Let's move it back to where it was. Key in an M in the newly inserted line, use up arrow, go back to the line which says type D, key a B for before and hit enter. So now you move the line back to where it was. Down arrow, tab, down arrow, right arrows, key in, delimit a range of lines with MM, then A or B on another line to move them after or before. So this is similar to CC for copy. Instead of copying, we are moving. So let's try that. Head over to line number 11.01 in my case, type I and enter, an MM there, and just take a few lines. Let's take up to line 15, another MM there, and let's come to one of the blank lines and say A for after. So those lines have been moved to after where the cursor was. Let's move them back again, MM, MM in the top row, down arrow, MM, up arrow, before, type C on a line. So B and hit enter. So we have moved those lines back to where they were. Before, type C on a line. Down arrow, tab over, right arrow. If you press space bar and get stuck, release with control key, use arrow keys. Let's document something we have already tried. Delimit a range of lines with DD, then hit enter to delete them. Tab over, press insert. We can squeeze in a space over there for improved readability. Hit enter. Let's delimit a range of lines, say DD, and say line number 16, DD. If you hit enter at this point, you will lose those 4 lines or 5 lines, and there is no way you can restore them besides actually typing them over again. So if you don't want to delete those lines, you can press F5 before you hit enter. That way the DDs are gone. Very good. Reposition cursor to next line, column 7, press F13, Shift plus F1 to set session defaults. To keep us motivated to produce more of such high quality free content, please subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button below, leave a comment or two, and share this video with your colleagues, friends, and other IBM-i fans. We will resume our RPGLE journey in the next video session. Again, hands-on. Until then, this is Madhu Vasudevan wishing you a very happy IBM-i by Doing. Stay tuned.